mine. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something that I've always
Is that
done.
your scientific term or what?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll leak out the groove, and that is definitely my scientific term.
Okay. Sometimes it gets the CPs, is what you're
The
saying.
CPs, yeah. They are right now. I'm just figuring a small block Chevy's about the cheapest thing a guy can build, so. Well,
I know you're doing all the work over here.
I mean, that's what always happens. I'm used to it. Totally used to it. Nothing new.
The viewers are used to it by now.
Nothing to see here. We done learned how to run rockers and how I put an intake on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You get stuff all over the China rails.
Yeah.
I don't know if
We talked about that.
I don't know if we call it that no more.
No, I told him that you don't know if you can, but I call it that.
Yeah. Got out here this morning and Dad's knocking in bearings over spacers on the small block.
Yeah, these are spacers to take a 400 block and put a 350 crank. Your bearings.
I guess they have dowels, or not dowels,
there's
but tangs cut out.
yeah, receiver grooves we'll call them. I don't know what they're called, but
Okay.
anyway, you put the bearings on top of the bearings to make it all fit. And
It's very weird.
I haven't done one since this. This was the last one that I did.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can see how thick these bearings are. We had to have the crank turned 30 over,
Yeah.
and like I say, you just basically put those a bearing inside a bearing. But they're made. I mean, I think these bearings are just a certain.
Like metal or something.
Well, I think on the back side it showed what they was, and then somebody like on the back one, they cut the thrusts off of it.
That way you could slide the bearing over.
Bearing and a bearing, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crazy deal, but we had the crank. Well, we had to get it balanced because the pistons was so much heavier on this one. We bought some 2618 pistons. And anyway, like I say, I like to put the crank in first, and then we'll pop it the ring.
That way I don't knock it over walking around.
Well, it's just sitting up over there, and it's like a piece of art.
Yeah.
Probably the most expensive balance job I've ever got. But
It looks nice.
they did a really nice job on it. I mean, they didn't just polish. Oh, and they turned the crank. They welded, metal in. They had to put Mallory in it to make up for the heavier pistons. And then they polished the thing, and the crank. They asked me if I wanted to polish it on the low or on the. I was like, it's like they're talking a different language to me, but
Yeah.
I felt like it was.
Felt like you were in some type of drug deal or something.
I didn't know what they were saying. Like I didn't know the code words that was coming out of their mouth. But
Yeah.
it was like if your bearings are supposed to have 1.5 thousandths, if they polish it enough, then it might have 2. It gives you just a little extra clearance if you're going to be racing it. And you can use a little thicker wool. So I went with that. I had to polish it down to where we've got a little extra clearance because I know this guy ran 2050 in it. So
Okay.
so anyway, that's where we're at.
So we're gonna get.
I just thought we would get into. Let's just get the crankshaft in it, and then gotta file fit the bearings. Gotta put the rods on the pistons. With spiral locks, your favorite thing.
That's a snazzy hat you got on.
Yeah.
What's that say? Oldsmobile Mafia?
Yeah, Olds Mafia. They've got a Facebook and Instagram, and Gilbert sent this to me. He knew I was going to be working on the Olds motor. He said I needed a decent hat to.
There you go. That hat to make it work.
Yeah, because he knew that the mojo off this hat is going to go right into that DX build that we did.
That's what I heard. So.
And he said, "Hey, I ain't seen a post about it yet." So anyway, here it is. Like brand new, don't it?
Looks like it rolled off the floor like that.
Man.
Off the production floor. Man, you can see yourself in these journals.
I mean, I'm telling you, this is the nicest.
That's a polish right there, you know it?
Besides a brand new crank, this is the nicest crank I've been around.
I'm surprised you're putting it in.
Well, I didn't put a little oil in the seal area. So.
Usually you have me lift the heavy stuff.
Well, it's not very heavy, believe it or not.
That's weird. They just like drilled it out, I guess.
They had to balance it.
Welded right here.
Yeah, they welded some Mallory in there.
Welded right there. I always think of Billy the Kid's crank,
and you know,
anytime. Slung a slug out. And
a race crank is, but, I mean, in their defense, this is a stock GM steel crank, so still a nice piece though.
Looks like a mirror polish.
I mean, I am absolutely not mad at this job that they did.
Yeah. You almost caught me off guard.
It's smooth as butter. This for some reason. And you can see I offset, I put a little silicone here. So the oil can't.
Hold on. Let me.
Here, I need to go.
Now let me just crank this up for you.
All right. So I put a little silicone on each end of the seal. I don't have any on the end of that seal, but I got it on the end of the other side. So when I put it together, it'll almost be like a one-piece seal.
Yeah.
And then I've got it a little offset, and then always put silicone on your cap to the seal like that, because oil can seep between there. I've got some on the block and on there.
Why do you offset it?
I offset it just because it's not lining all the line. It's kind of like how we do the rings, you know, and we stagger them. Oh, spitting on myself. How we stagger the rings, you don't want it all lined up because then it can leak right out that, you know, groove in my mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something that I've always
Is that
done.
your scientific term or what?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll leak out the groove, and that is definitely my scientific term.
Okay. Sometimes it gets the seepies, is what you're
The
saying.
CPs, yeah. That's 100% it. That's act. Still turning, so it's gonna come down to that back one, but I need to find 2 more washers. I'm just barely torquing the hell. My little electric impact done torqued them to 50 foot-pounds. I didn't think it had that in it. I thought it was about 35. All right. You remember our trick on the Oldsmobile the other day? So we're gonna do the same thing. Just a little tap forward, a tap back, going up. Like I say, 7/16 bolts, you know, you can only go so far with them. I've seen guys back in the old days, some small blocks, they would, I'm like, what'd you torque the mains to? They're like, we turned them until they quit. So, and we're not doing that, but we're definitely, that was 70. I'm gonna take them up to 80. I don't feel, on 7/16, I don't feel comfortable going any further than 80. And as you can tell, they're already there. Now, like I say, I'm gonna probably see if I can talk the guy into new head bolts. I don't like the way some of these look. It looks like when I originally built this for my lady, I must have used whatever I had. You know, that's the way I do things. Is whatever we've got is what we use, and I used head bolts and head studs, and I'd like to just get a new set of either or. So they're iron heads, iron block, MLSs. You know, I mean, this box I went and got, it's got nothing but ARP bolts and studs and, you know, extra stuff in it. But again, all the water over the years that this has been together, it's really ate on them bottom head studs, and I just don't like the way they look. So I'm going to see if we can talk him into a different set, or I may just eat that and put a set in it. I'm just figuring a small block Chevy's about the cheapest thing a guy can build. So I grind them, and then when you fall fit rings, you know, if you grind them, it leaves a lip on the edge. So I always make sure I get all four. You want to deburr all four edges with a file. And yesterday, or when I was putting the ones together on that Olds, we had a few that we just didn't get deburred good enough. And if you do that, then you can't. If you don't deburr them enough, then the ring, it will stick in the groove. Like it won't go in the groove good. See how this one, it just goes around. If you don't deburr those good enough, they won't do that. And then you've got major troubles. You can't see my face, but that's what Jace was getting on to me about the other day. All right. So we got these spiral locks. You got to snap them in. Some pistons will have 2 sets of these, and some pistons will have one thick one. This is a thick one. Spread it out so you can see it. And they are a bear to get in. This is Jace's job normally, and it may be his job again, because like I say, I have no strength in my hands, and I've seen people put these in differently. The nice thing is, if they're this hard to go in, they're going to be that hard to come out. So, alright, so then I just take some of our engine assembly lube and put in here. And then you've got this is your valve reliefs. You want it up, and you want these tangs on the rod down. So this goes just like that. Eyebrows up, tangs down, and then, like I say, I just put a little oil in there and slide it together, and then I always double check it before you spend the time on putting. So tangs down, eyebrows up on every single piston. People get really confused, and it's really not confusing. It's really elementary. It's elementary after you've done 500 builds, I guess, but I know a lot of people kind of struggle with that. I've gotten stuff like my boy, a lot of times when he gets machine work done, just for time savings, he'll have them put these together. And I think it was even on his, they had put the rods on the pistons, and they put 2 of them backwards. So anyhow, all right, there's one done. So we got one in. Let me see what time it is.
Force it in.
Just keep hitting it. It'll go. Woo!
Them rings are stiff. Stiff son of a guns.
Uh-oh. Surprised you were able to pick it up with
I
that
know,
bad
usually
pin on you.
Usually I can't. Should have seen me putting the spiral locks in these things yesterday, which you will. I taped it all, but it was quite the ordeal. Ooh. Hello. Uh-oh. Now you jinxed me.
There it goes.
Yeah. I'll say you done jinxed. Yeah, I was saying that yesterday when I was putting them on, that second ring. I've never seen a second ring that far down, you know, before.
Yeah.
Yeah, on rod bolt stretch, I like to torque them, let them sit a while, come back, check them again. Alright, so with this gear you can advance or retard, which I don't know if that's politically correct, but we're going to go back straight up. This thing ran good. It was straight up, but it's nice to have these options. If you advance it, it'll bring the power curve, you know, give you a little more torque. Again, with this combo, since we went with more compression, we'll probably just put it on zero. I think it's going to be the smartest move for us. I put a little oil on the back side where this goes up against the camshaft. And then I'm going to roll it around till the dots line up. 0 and 0. Then that's where I'll hang the chain on. And hopefully it'll do better than what John Jr. did that day. Then I got a cam retainer plate and a button. I don't know if I had a washer behind this button as my whole thing. So I leave the cam where she's sitting, put this chain on, go from the bottom up until the zeros, the dots are lined up right there. Somebody, like I tighten these up and then I fold those over when I'm done. I'm not going to fold them over just yet because I'll put a little Loctite on them, but I want to double check them against the cover and make sure that I've got the proper in play. I just tacked it back together. I'm gonna grind it a little bit and clean it up. It probably wouldn't have mattered since this bolts to the oil pump and this to the main studs, but I don't like anything flopping around in there. You know, buy $200 6.0s, make them $1,000 6.0s when I could have had a $400 6.0. Oh no.
I opened the memory card.
Oh, I folded over the cam retaining bolt, you know, flaps.
Yeah.
Check the cam in play.
Okay.
On these metal ones, if you don't have enough, you can just
tap it in a little bit.
Or you tap it in a little bit, whichever way.
Which way did you go?
Well, I went in till it touched, and then I just give it a little slight tap to the outside. So I give it about 5 thousandths clearance.
Just a little tap, scientific tap.
Pretty good guess. It's about 5 thousandths.
Okay.
We got the windows tray on. I had to weld it up.
Yeah.
I ground it and wire brushed it. Really, we're at the point of putting the balancer on and the pan. I mean, the thing's definitely in dire straits for some paint.
Yeah. You're waiting on head studs
Waiting on head studs
to put the 1,000-pound heads on.
Man, those things are heavy.
They feel like they'd hurt
Which
if
the
you
goal
dropped
for
them.
this motor is to make about 550 on the motor, which that's a lot, but on pump gas. But flat top. I keep saying it's a 377 is probably a 30 over, so this is probably a 380. Man, I don't know. Let's just
377 is what I keep calling it, because that's
Well-
what I'm pretty sure what we said it was back in the day.
yeah. Let me just figure it real quick.
How are you figuring it out? Like, what are you taking?
I just Google cubic inch calculator, and then there's a Wallace Racing cubic inch calculator,
Okay.
and you type in.
I don't even know if it'll focus on that.
Oh, you type
Okay.
in the bore. So 4.185.
Okay.
And the stroke is 3.5, and then 8. How many cylinders? It's 385.16. So it's 385 inch.
Okay.
So
Simple enough.
I was in my mind. I thought 387, but that didn't sound right. But it's a 383. Most 383s are 354 inch, 4030 bore, 375 stroke. This is a 3.5 inch stroke with a big bore.
Yeah.
Same, similar setup to that
The Oldsmobile.
thing.
Okay.
So
Well,
So
About time to-
385 cubic inches. Now it's flat tops, probably 11 to 1 compression. It's got the 200 intake runner heads. I mean, it'll make 500.
Yeah.
I think.
what pistons were it before? Were they not?
They was a big time dish. I mean, it had. I bet it was 9 to 1. We probably increased the compression 2 points. So
Okay.
probably gonna rattle on the pump gas of today. Probably need to go on E85 with it. That's gonna be my recommendation.
Like some Renegade E85?
Yeah, Renegade Pro E85 Plus. That's my recommendation.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, have to get a drum with this motor. Now, it's gonna be my recommendation. I think he's going fuel injection for some reason. I think he's going
Building in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I would have got some warning about that. I just blew my nose in the rag you were using.
Oh, yeah.
Carburetor cleaner?
That'll cure you.
Man.
A good brake cleaner or a good car cleaner will cure what else?
That was a spicy rag.
I don't think there's one.
Are you gonna wait till you put the heads on it to paint everything?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all iron. I just want to paint the whole thing at once. I
Yeah, it
think
looks
that-
like crap right now.
Yeah, it ain't looking too.
Huh, that's good. You know? It's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird doing anything besides the LS now, you know what?
Yeah.
This is all we used to do is small blocks
Chevys,
and big blocks and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and now we do more. That's what I had somebody asking me about the LS as an older gentleman last night because he
Yeah.
was asking me what I had in the Red Dragon. I said pretty much a
Stock LS.
6.0
Yeah.
LS.
Stock crank, Stockheads.
I told him about that dyno. He's like, "Oh, you got to send me a video of it." But I did send him a picture of Cabron, you know, all orange and everything. Man, he loved it. He's got a Vega,
Oh yeah.
small block Vega. It runs like 6 in the 6s and the 8th, all motoring and no deal. But
Yeah, everybody's been asking me what color Cabron is now. Nobody asked me a single time what color Cabron was
oh, really?
whenever it had a black front end.
Wow.
I posted it on Billy Hoskins' post about him getting the front end painted on his S10, and I've had 2 or 3 people ask me what color that is.
Some kind of
I'm like, what?
some
What?
kind of neon hugger orange. We don't even really know.
Yeah.
It definitely took a color match to match it, though. All right, sorry for the noise. Jace is out of town working, so I'm gonna work on getting the heads on this small block today. Like I say, we've been thrashing on it. This guy would definitely like to get it back and get it in. I'm gonna go over the deck one more time with some brake cleaner, and then I'm gonna put the Cometic head gaskets on dry. I'm gonna wipe the heads down and set them on, and then I'm gonna silicone the threads and run all the studs in, and then torque them. My goal is, before I have to go to work this morning, get these heads torqued on. And then it's 25 degrees outside, so I'm sorry again about the heater. It's, I wish we had a different kind of heater in here, and that may be something we look at later on. But anyhow, we're gonna work on this and get into it. Like I say, if you guys got any questions about building engines or anything, you can always message me, or leave a comment, and hopefully Jason will read those, and we can get you some answers. So these are Felpro. They're 4200, and they got the steam hole vents for a small block. 400s have steam holes in between the cylinders to let, and like I say, some people don't worry about that. Some people I always take that into consideration when I buy a small block, but it ain't. And you don't torque these in, you just take them down to snug. Because if you torque them in, it can crack the deck of the block. I've seen it happen a lot. Guys don't know, they'll screw these studs in, they'll torque them in, and like I say, you don't want to torque them. You just run them in by hand till they stop, and that's where you stop. Nice. Those things, these heads weigh 80 pounds a piece. Not used to it. Yeah, I'm gonna say, for the record, LS heads are a lot lighter than some iron small blocks, for sure. Alright, maybe a couple that are, oh yeah. On a small block Chevy, on the 2 end ones that's under the valve cover, they're a different length than the rest of them. You can see this is most of the long ones, but on the end, different length. Alright, I'm going to torque these. I'm starting at 50 pounds. You start in the middle and work your way out. I kind of go in a circular motion from that center bolt. one end to the other. I mean, that's what I do. So that's basically how to put heads on a small block Chevy. So, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some paint on them because I've got this old motor warmed up just running that heater. So I'd like to take advantage of it while I can. Like I say, I like gloss black or satin black. Don't want flat black, but I like the gloss black. It just, to me, looks the best on an engine. I got oil, I got break-in oil and an oil filter for it. So hey, the cooler it is, the better the paint will shine. But, and the reason is it dries slower. But
Well, you've been putting in some work since I've been gone, Dad.
yeah,
Right?
I mean, it's nothing common.
It's just
I mean,
now?
It happens all the time.
It's just normal.
So, yeah.
This is I'm just filming videos and editing them for
That's
Dad.
all you do. So you do the easy stuff.
I'm just editing them for you. This is your YouTube
I
channel.
do all the hard stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it looks nice.
No, I mean, like I say, all I got to do, I was telling our viewers that I'm going to run the rockers and really go over that with them,
Yeah.
you know, next. So, like I say, like I was telling you, some of these, I'm not real happy with the way these.
Some of these heads,
Well,
head bolts,
the
are,
head
studs.
bolts, you know, I just bought small block Chevy head studs.
Mm-hmm.
But they're Speedmaster, not ARPs. I had mentioned that earlier, but anyhow, I don't know. I slept on it and I didn't sleep very well, thinking about how some of these only maybe have 5 threads holding them, and I don't think I can let it leave like that. So I think I'm gonna go through and break them loose, unscrew them, re-silicone them, screw them back in, but leave enough out where at least it's flush.
Yeah.
You know, like this one. See that?
Flush.
And this, I think this end
mean,
one's
this one-
about-
this
I
one
mean,
looks like
if they was just like that within one thread.
This one looks like he caught about exactly one thread of the
Right.
actual stud.
Yeah.
Well,
And like I say, they're not all like that, but
most of them.
there's about-
or some of them.
there's about 8 on each head that are bothering me, so I'm gonna redo them. I know what I've got the torque wrench set at and everything, so I'm just gonna undo them real quick, re-silicone them, re-torque them, and then I'm gonna run the rockers. So
Okay, well, hopefully I'm back down here by the time you're running rockers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go help Matt throw some heads on Ocho Cinco real quick, and then be right back down here. I know you hear that. I know you think that I'm not gonna show
not
back
coming
up.
back. In
but-
other words, is all I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'll probably just stay down there.
Yeah, that's all. All right, we're gonna run the rockers, small block Chevy. Like I say, this works on anything. The way I run them, I do them when the intake starts to open, I set the exhaust. When the exhaust starts to close, I set the intake. And with the intake off, you can see if the lifter's up or down, so it's pretty easy. I went back through and redid those head studs. I didn't like how many threads was sticking out, but there was plenty of threads down low, so I just unscrewed them, re-siliconed them, and then went through and put them on. So let me get my stuff. Now I didn't soak these in solvent. They were still kind of drenched in oil, so I just used clean oil and a little bit of carb cleaner and cleaned them off, because I don't really want to take everything out of them, because this thing was running fine. It just had a hole in the piston, so. Yeah, 5/8. Okay. All right, so what we do is, like I say, when the intake starts to open, we set the exhaust. So, I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me see. Y'all can't see that. Here, I'm gonna back it up a little bit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Jace was wanting to get it right on here, but anyhow, so it's what I'm gonna do. I'm not putting the polylocks on all of them because it's what I did is I soaked all these lifters. I know that's, some people don't like to do that, but on a hydraulic roller especially, I don't mind soaking the lifters. So I'm gonna roll this thing over until the exhaust is starting to open, so I set the intake. As soon as the exhaust starts to open, I set the intake. So I'm taking it down to 0, which is right there. And then on a hydraulic roller, you want to give it 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. So from the bottom to the top would be 1/2. And I'm going to lock that and lock that. So that is about 5/8 of a turn. So, and that's where I like to set them. You got to have some preload. So now the intake's starting to open, and as soon as it starts to close, I'm going to set this exhaust one. Same way. I'm going to go until 0, and I'm turning the push rod until it basically just stops. You can also lift up on the push rod. Here, I'll show you, like that. I don't know if y'all can see that, but you can lift up until right when it's 0, right there. And then again, I've got my jam nut loose. I'm gonna go 1/2 a turn, and then about there's where I'm starting to snug that, and then tighten that. And if you tighten those too much, you can break them. Ask me how I know, because I always overdo stuff like that. But anyhow, a lot of times I'll have all these on when I'm doing a solid, but on a hydraulic, I ain't trying to compress that until I get them set. So anyhow, so I'm gonna roll it over. All right, so the intake's open then on this next cylinder, and it's starting to close. So I'm gonna set the exhaust. When the exhaust starts to open, you set the intake on that cylinder. When the intake opens and starts to close, that's where you set the exhaust. So, and again, like I say, I just run it down to 0. Like, you can spin the push rod till it stops. That's 0. You can lift up and down till it stops. That's 0. Many different ways to get to 0, and then I go from the bottom to the top's 1/2, and I start tightening it, and then I turn it to about 5/8. And then now we're going to watch this intake till it opens. See it opening? And then as soon as it starts back down, then that means we're on the back side of the camshaft for the exhaust. If you do them this way, I'm not saying you couldn't miss one, but it'd sure be hard to miss one. Almost everything now. Alright, so edge is on. So let me find my priming tool. Ooh. This only works on small and big block Chevys. It's just an old cut-off distributor that I cut off, and it slides down in there, and then you just put a drill on the top. Alright, let's see what we're working with here. There it goes. There it goes. Look at it. Dang! That is almost 70 pounds of oil pressure. Now, the good thing is to, gotta get a battery. Good thing is to prime it and roll it over. I wouldn't mind seeing it come plumb up out of the lifters. Oh, it's already coming up out of these lifters over here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but like I say, that's why it's good to roll it over. You can get, so far I can see 7, well I can see all 8 on that side doing it. And all 8 on this side are going. So that means there's oil through the whole engine now. We had 70 pounds of oil pressure at probably maybe 500 RPM. So when he starts this thing, and that's with straight 30 weight in it, when he starts this thing, it's gonna have a lot. And on a small block Chevy, these holes go into the, down into the valley. If you don't put silicone in the threads like this before you put your intake on, you'll have, and I also usually put it on the bolts too, but if you don't do that, you'll have oil come up and stand in the bottom of the intake. It's really sucky, which I usually put like a thin layer around everything, even on the intake portion, real thin over here, but I like the added, you know, just holding power. And then I go all the way across the bottom here. Just, I don't want oil seeping up between that gasket and the intake. So I just, like I say, I really started doing silicone on everything when we started doing a lot of boost stuff, because you want to, you know, this, you wouldn't think it, but just a little thin bead of silicone will hold the gasket in place under a lot of boost. So, and that, again, that's just my thinking. I don't know. It's, I mean, nothing I mean, I don't know. There probably is something on it, but it's just something I started doing. And because you blow one intake gasket out and have a vacuum leak and melt the cylinder down, you don't want none of those problems again. Like I say, I try to get plenty on that China rail. I like saying that just because it's something I learned one day, and I was telling Jason. He was telling me, I don't think you can say that, Dad. And I said, that's what they call it. So I like to say it all the time, every chance I get. So. But, and when you do that, you want to make sure your silicone's touching all the way, because you don't want, like I say, main thing, we don't want no leaks. This was probably Allen's. It's probably why I don't have them. Just the way I do. Whoa. What's up, man? Hey, you almost waited long enough till I got it all done.
Well, we're black trucking things, or Ocho trucking things.
Yeah. Oh!
Well, see what happens when we walk over here?
Yeah, I was having no trouble till y'all showed up. Missing bolts. I don't know who took this motor apart for me, but
I used to have a P&G intake like that.
yeah.
Another one that leaked all the time.
Yeah. Totally used to it. Nothing new.
The viewers are used to it by now.
Nothing to see here. We done learned how to run rockers and how I put an intake on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You get stuff all over the China rails.
Yeah.
I don't know if
We talked about that.
I don't know
too.
if we call it that no more.
No, I told him that you don't know if you can, but I call it that.
Yeah. We're gonna have to figure out a different name for them with all these balloons or something.
Well, Yeah, hopefully that balloon wasn't to spy on us.
Yeah, they're looking. They're like, look at this guy's calling the China rail still. We
Yeah.
got to go get him.
Yeah.
Balloon lands on the job.
See y'all later. Those guys. On this intake, you want to start in the middle and work your way out. And I just want to snug it a little bit. I want to get them all ran down and snug. And really the center ones are the only ones I don't think I can get with the torque wrench. So, yeah, I like to start in the middle to really tighten it. Oh! And I'm gonna have to take a stab at which side's which, but I'm gonna say this is the back over here just because. Ah. Okay. Ah. Alright. Just gotta.
Just polishing her up a little bit.
Yeah, I really just need to tape it up and put it on this little stand, you know.
Did you get some good footage with
Yeah,
talking to everybody?
I think so. I mean, I think I did.
Yeah.
But
All right. Well, I mean that's a 385 small block build right there.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, I think it'd be a fun little motor. You
probably be a
know?
little ripper.
Yeah, I think it will be. Like I say, we already primed it. It had 70 pounds of oil pressure
Phew.
with the drill. So.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Man, 70.
70.
Okay.
That's what you get when you do a fresh, you know, turning of the crank and new bearings.
Yeah.
I mean, 70.
The crank looked like it was a mirror almost. So.
Yeah, it was really nice. So.
Well. All right. Anything else besides taping it and stuff?
No, I just need to tape it and put it on its stand. But like I say, whenever I know he's coming, I'm gonna tape it here in a second, but we'll just put it on the stand when he's on his way or whatever. So I think this was his chain.
Yeah, probably.
There's 2 long bolts, and I felt like they're probably for this chain. So.
All right. Well, that'll be it for
Yeah.
the small block video.
One down.
Yeah, one down, many more to go, I guess.
Man.
Right.
Sounds like it. So. Yeah.
But all right, that'll be it for today's video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll holler at you later.